Good evening on a very balmy Saturday, the 27th of June at 7 o'clock. Um, Self Pub Fest stalwart. Never can never say that word correctly. Um, Regular, but I like stalwart. It means that you're, you know, part of the furniture now. Beth Rogers, BB Elson. Beth Rogers as non-fiction, BB Elson as fiction. And I'm guessing you're reading out, you did mention a haiku, so that may be non-fiction. We don't know, we shall see. But yes, we're going to take it in turns as we always do. But Beth has got more than I have. I've only got two pieces this evening, which do go together. One's a main story, and then I'll say when I get to it that the other piece is a prequel, but written afterwards, as often happens. So, evening, Beth.
Good
Lovely
evening,
to see
Morgen.
you. Are
Thank you
you
for
keeping?
having me on your show again.
Oh, you're very welcome. Are you keeping coolish? Because I will be sitting here with my almost empty notebook, trying discreetly to go like this under the desk.
Well, I quite like the warmth. So, I mean, I'm sensible. I don't kind of take any risks with it.
Mm,
And I spend time in my flat with the windows and curtains closed and all that sort of stuff that we're supposed to do.
mm,
Um, but I I appreciate it when we've got it because we don't get it that often.
no. Well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. We should never wish our time away, but from tomorrow for at least a week, apparently it's going to go down to early to mid 20s, so 23-ish, which is more my kind. I prefer the heat than the cold. But yes, early to mid 20s suits me. That's good.
Anyway, we did get
Yeah.
off lightly since there are so many places in the rest of Europe that have been temperatures over 40, including my sister in Hamburg. And Hamburg is on about the same latitude as Newcastle, I think.
Right.
So 41 sounds, well, I can't imagine it really.
Unbearable.
Hmm.
So, what are you going to start with?
I am going to start, Morgan, with The Monster in the Gents.
Okay, which I
Um,
know because I
this was,
judged it recently.
did. This was one of my
Yes.
entries to your 300 word competition.
Yes.
And it has also featured on BBC Upload in the South.
That's
So I'm very
fantastic.
proud of that.
Yes, absolutely.
So, The Monster in the Gents. No, Daddy, no! The squeal could break glass. Heads turn. What kind of child abuse is being committed in these lavatories? I only suggested to my dear daughter that I pick her up so that she could dry her hands in the machine. I can feel unspoken tutting and a for God's sake get that brat out of here mood wafting towards me. I didn't want to be here, but if you have to take swift action when I have to pee is shouted at you and her mother is having retail therapy somewhere in the depths of TK Maxx. It's just a hand dryer, sweetheart. Look at Daddy. I just put my hands in the opening at the top. Air is blown onto my hands, and I take them out. Dry. Well, dry-ish. She looks up at me, horrified. Mummy told me not to put my hands in things. My fingers might get trapped and cut off. Well, not always. It's a monster. It roared when you put your hands in, and there's a farty smell in here. It eats people. I can't help thinking that she's now trying to wind me up in that not very sweet way that children sometimes push their luck with their parents in public places. My little princess. It's quite imaginative. Now, Ellie, that's a bit silly. Why don't you just try it? No, Daddy, no! Okay, dry your hands on your t-shirt. She pouts. I just take one of her wet hands and lead her outside. Just as the door closes, an almighty howl blasts past us on fetid hot air. I quiver with panic, but Ellie doesn't. She has the most indignant, I told you so. Look on her face that I have ever seen.
Brilliant. It's amazing, isn't it? We can get in short amount of time because it's a short amount of space because it's up to 300 words.
Mm,
Um, but I also run a 50-word competition, and that's going to be 50 words exactly. And again, it's amazing what people get into. And there's a theme each month. That's a monthly one, and it's a different theme each month. And this is for the opening. Did you
mhm.
did you write this for the competition? You can tell me now it's over,
Yes,
or did you
yes,
have it?
I did.
You did,
Yeah.
because sometimes I can tell if there's a competition I judged. I think I was one of the round judges rather than the head judge for the HE Bates a few years ago, and we had the normally it's an open theme, which I'm not so keen on. I'd much rather have a theme because then you're all on the same level. You've all written to the same thing, and it was a walk at midnight, and there was no walk, and it wasn't set at midnight. So whether they'd missed the fact that it had a theme, but other ones you kind of think they've almost been shoehorned in. It's something else, and say a wife doing retail therapy, and
Mm.
then all of a sudden she's thinking about a walk that she did at midnight a few days before, and then you think, okay, would you? And it's tweaked to the theme. But no, it's fun. I think it came second, didn't it? Your one. So
I can't remember, so I know it
yeah,
was close.
I think it was second. Yes. Um, no, it's lovely. And yes, your Ellie
Mhm.
shrieking. It's funny. I've got
Was it
a
was based, although I wrote a theme, um, some time ago that I saw a little girl, ladies, obviously,
hmm,
in toilets on the service station, and uh, this little girl was really freaked out by the Dyson Airblades,
right.
and I thought I can understand that. I don't think I really like the idea of putting my hands in it,
No,
and particularly not when it's called Airblade.
Airblades.
That doesn't sound, so.
Hmm,
Um, but it was just something that I noticed at the time, and
hmm,
then when I kind of related opening of the machine to the opening.
hmm.
Um, I thought, well, it would have more edge if I set it in a gents. And I do remember my father having great difficulty with his two little girls, always, kind of embarrassing him and making unreasonable demands and shouting,
When children have got to
"Oh,
go,
no."
they've got to go. The amount of people who've pulled off on motorways because their children have
Mm,
to go.
mm.
Oh, can't wait. No, it's funny.
Anyway, there we go.
Yes,
So, and you have got your prequel and main piece.
I have. One I wrote. I shouldn't say I think it's one of the best things I've ever written, but I'm very proud of it. And that's that. So I wrote this. It's 1,200 words. I wrote this. I hadn't realised it was quite so long actually, but I do read quite quickly. And I had it on Smashwords as a free. I don't know if it's still there. I don't think I have anything on Smashwords at the moment. And it was there as a free story. And I had a young lady. She started off by saying, "I am young!" exclamation mark in her email to me, and she said how much she enjoyed. It's called April's Fool, and she said how much she'd enjoyed it and what happened next. And so I'm going to read that second. And I said, well, nothing really happens next, but I'll write you a prequel. And she said that she was entering the BBC 500 words competition, which I think is up to 13, is or was. It was on. I judged it when Chris Evans was doing it, and then I think I think when Zoe Ball was doing I think she brought it back for a little while, and So I wrote a prequel. So I'm going to read that. Hopefully they'll make sense in that order. But it's called, and that is in this one, shorts. I thought they both were, but this is just the one in that one. So it's called Once the Love's Gone. As it started to wobble, April looked at her husband's tooth and her heart sank. When had things started going wrong? When had he let himself go? You really should go to the dentist. I could edit this. You should really go to the dentist, she said for the umpteenth time, but had known the answer before she'd spoken. It'll come out of its own accord. She'd given up saying that it didn't need to, that technology had moved on, and the sooner, that's as far as she'd ever got. So she'd sit at the kitchen table reading her book, a half-hour respite until the oven timer would set her back into action. She'd read about the exotic lives of the film stars she'd only ever see on television, watched when he was down the pub, too drunk, too busy to take her to the cinema in town. April had had an exotic life once, before she'd met him, a handsome young farmer at the local dance. She'd spent the summers picking vines in France, liaisons in the Louvre, backpacking around Europe until her money had run out. Then home to reality, her parents, college, a real job in an office before the farm became her life. As she read her book, she heard him shouting at the TV, answers to quiz shows or an early football match. He'd slap his hand down on the chair's arm, hitting wood through the worn-away foam. It reminded her of when he'd slap her backside, gently in a playful rather than sexual manner, although she'd give anything for either right now. She wondered whose backside he was slapping these days. Cindy or Amelia down the old bull would tolerate it, knowing it came with the territory. Barbara at the Haven actively encouraged, knowing it usually led to higher tips. This had been one of the nails in the Milton marital coffin. The affection and the money divided elsewhere, like an affair without the adultery. April sure of his fidelity, despite appearances, his battle with cancer becoming a battle with her, a silent one, the throat cancer that hadn't robbed him of his voice, just his passion. She knew it was an act with the other women, but it hurt all the same. What's for dinner? He grumbled, shuffling through to get a beer from the fridge. Steak and ale pie. April waited for a reaction, but none was forthcoming. She'd chosen his favourite as it had alcohol in it. She'd added extra to be sure. Would assure her of a quiet evening. Quiet other than his snoring while slumped in his own armchair if he didn't make it to the pub. April thought back to the day they'd bought the chair, an odd addition to their old two-piece suite. But I like it, he'd groaned when she'd suggested getting something more neutral, the pattern of the suite long discontinued. She'd thought the armchair hideous, but over the years it had hidden the stains of the beer and meals he'd taken through, then rushed to eat, eager to meet the lads down the pub. The lads being Ernie and Bert, who'd still be eating their dinners while chatting with their wives, long after he'd arrived, so he'd spend his time leching at the bimbos, his loose tooth wobbling in its socket, not bothering anyone but April. She wondered if that meant she still cared, but if she now enjoyed seeing him in pain, was it enjoyment or pity? She couldn't put her finger on it, but one thing she knew was that it was no longer concern, no longer love. And once the love's gone, there are decisions to be made, actions to be taken, and she knew she had to be the one to make them.
Aha.
So that's called Once the Love Gone.
And
Yes, that's the prequel.
that's the prequel. So, and now we have
Do you want me to, this is all I've got for this evening. Do you want me to read it out and then you fill the rest of the
Oh, I think so. Now I've heard the prequel.
Okay, rightio. And this is April's Fool. I don't know when I wrote it, but it's probably 15 years ago, something like that. So this is April's Fool. Her wrinkled right hand clasps the side of the bowl, while her left beats the mixture. April thinks of her husband and growls. She pictures him downing his beer, chatting to friends, leching at the bimbos by the bar and smiling, his loose tooth wobbling in his socket. As she adds the final ingredient, her hand beats faster to match her brain. The spoon clanks against the glass bowl, and a small dollop of pudding flies over the top. Damn it, she says, and grabs a cloth to wipe up the slimy green goo. She stares at the clock and growls again. He'll be on his 9th pint by now, and never stops at single numbers. Bumping down the bowl, another blob escapes. This time she grabs one of his clean vests off the chair to her left, wipes up the spillage, then neatly folds the vest with the newly acquired marks hidden, and puts it on the top of a pile of freshly ironed clothes. She smiles, turns, then pulls open the fridge door, oblivious to the sound of the seals peeling apart. She makes a space for the clear Pyrex bowl and dumps it on the shelf, letting it clunk against the plastic-covered metal bars. Grabbing a bag of homegrown mixed veg out of the salad drawer, she slams the door to, reuniting the seals which kiss shut. Ignoring the greens, she selects the carrots, which she peels roughly before slicing them lengthways into delicate strips. They lie on the chopping board in disorderly lines, but the regiment leaps to attention as they're boiled alive, joining the salted peas cowering at the bottom of the saucepan. Carrying the laundry, she stomps upstairs and into his bedroom. She opens the wardrobe door, supporting it as she does so, cursing at the loose hinge which she's nagged him about time and again. She hooks a hangered shirt over the rail, smoothing its sleeve down as it catches on its neighbour. Her right foot knocks against a battered suitcase as she lifts the door to shut it in place, and smiles again, and returns to the kitchen, bobbing her head as she ducks under the beam. With the vegetables cooked, she bashes the boiled potatoes to within an inch of their lives, then finishes them off with a fork as she lays the mash on top of the mince and skims the fork in smooth, long strokes back and forth, emulating her husband ploughing his field. After sprinkling a cheddar topping, she returns the glass dish to the oven and lowers the heat. There'll be hell to pay if his dinner gets burned. She scrapes the peelings, gooseberry tops and tails, into the compost bucket, then crashes the pots and pans into the sink, as if the louder the noise, the better she feels. She looks at the clock and sighs. He'll be back soon. April checks the pudding in the fridge, shaking the bowl for solidity. The recipe says leave to cool, but she's getting impatient. The kitchen door swings open and he wobbles in. He's got tart red lipstick on his cheek, just above the nick where he caught himself shaving that morning. "Dinner ready, woman," he yells as he kicks off his boots, as if she's miles away, not just the other side of the farmhouse kitchen. "Sit down, it's on its way," is the only order she dares to make, but it does the trick. He shouts "Get me a beer, April," and it duly appears. April somewhat surprised that the woman is now personalised. She watches him eat and it puts her off her food. The shepherd's pie is thrown down his throat at the same speed as his drink, and he isn't fussed which he has. His mouth greets one while still full of the other. A dribble of beer rolls down his chin and April's stomach lurches. She clears away the plates and goes to the fridge. The dessert is extracted and dispensed into 2 single-portion glass dishes. He looks down at his and belches. "What's this?" he asks, before issuing another. "It's gooseberry," she pauses. "Fool," the delay quite deliberate. "Don't call me no damn fool, woman." He scrapes back his chair and faces her, just inches between them, before she turns away from his beery breath. "No, that's what it is, gooseberry fool." And she turns to the sink, mumbling, though takes one to no one, just out of earshot as he sits back down. Saying louder, "It's extra sweet, just how you like it," she leaves him to eat his dessert and finish his beer. Removing her wedding ring, she rinses the plates under the hot tap, empties the washing up bowl and refills it with warm soapy water. Ignoring him as he leaves the kitchen, she hears the TV start up. No doubt he'll soon be shouting at the screen to Jeremy Paxman or one of his guests, some politician or other. So I need to update that, don't I? She can feel the water softening her rough hands, and once the plates and cutlery are washed, she puts her palms flat on the bottom of the bowl until she can feel her fingertips wrinkle. Turning back to the table, April picks up his empty dish, an accompanying spoon, and throws them into the bowl. The water splashes against the tiled wall behind the sink, but she doesn't care. She's past all that. For a moment, she remembers their early years, and the husband who used to take her on holiday would remember their anniversary and kiss her good night in the bed they shared, his bed now. She hears his moans of indigestion from the other room, and a smile slowly comes to her face when it finally sinks in that she won't have to put up with him much longer. With the washing up done, April goes upstairs, leaving the dishes to dry. She pulls out the old suitcase and begins to pack. She knows what's needed and it doesn't take her long. She lugs the case down the stairs, but the handle slips from her grasp as she nears the corner, 3 steps from the bottom. The case plummets into the kitchen and he stomps through to meet it. "What you doing, woman?" he asks. But she just smiles and looks at the content of the case would have spilled onto the kitchen floor. He looks down at the clothes, then back at his wife. "April," is all he can say, and she tilts her head towards the back door. "I've been a fool long enough. It's time to go." Her face is as hard as his heart. He walks towards her, but she backs away. She looks at him, the case, the cascade of clothes, then at the door again. He opens his mouth to speak, or belch, April isn't sure which, but closes it again. She stares. He sighs. As she closes the door behind her, her grip tightens on the suitcase handle. As she walks up the path towards their car, a row of pink sweet peas either side of her bid her farewell. She starts thinking of the holiday that's been long overdue, and as she drives off towards the hills, she wonders how long it will take the police to find his body.
I had a feeling that was coming. I thought, oh, is she poisoning him?
Extra sweet, just
Yeah.
how he looked it.
Mm.
Yes. So there we go. Yeah, so I because
Although
I
it would have
don't.
been another twist if, when he discovered her before it had taken effect, he then kind of attacks her or tries to stop her.
Mm.
Uh, anyway,
Yes,
very
so this young
intriguing.
lady messaged me to say what happens next. So
Yeah.
as often, it's not flash fiction because it's 1,200 words, but as often happens in flash fiction and short stories, it's just left for you to
Mm,
assume that um, natural causes, because he's not a well person anyway,
mm,
and that she goes and has a happy life thereafter.
mm.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
I don't
very
normally do
good build
description.
up there. A very good build up
Thank
because
you.
every kind of little bit, the carrots, the pea, I, I felt the kind of undercurrent of potential violence when you talked about the carrots being boiled and
Mm.
ignoring peas and yeah. So very good
Yeah,
build up.
I remember writing. It's quite some time ago. I'd have to find out when it was, but it was
Very
before
Paxton,
Amazon.
that's about 10 years ago, isn't it?
I'd say yes, at least that. Um, 10 years is 2016. Not terribly sure. I'd have to go back through my Smashwords folder
Mhm.
and see. But yeah, fairly early. So the platform is all yours now.
Ah, well, let me. switch then to poetry because
Yeah.
I had a piece published in the Marlow Museum guide to the centenary of Higginson Park. So I don't
Okay.
know how well, if I put this right in front of my face, you might be able to see it.
No. All I can
No.
see are trees and yeah,
Ah,
there
there
we
we go,
go.
Higginson Park
Higginson Park. Oh
Centenary
yeah.
Celebration.
Because Marlow Writers has got a new anthology out.
That's true, yes.
Because I saw a post, I think,
That,
where one of your people there's a marquee. Was it this weekend,
yes,
last
that's right, the
weekend?
marquee at the regatta. Mhm.
Yes, yes, very good. Are you in that? You're in that
Yes,
anthology, are you?
yeah.
Okay.
Um, So the Marlow Museum piece, it was obviously themed for the park, and
Mhm.
my earliest memories of well, no, not my earliest memories of Marlow, but I suppose my kind of um, heyday memories of Marlow are associated with the fair.
Okay.
It was, yeah, I don't say it is that Beaconsfield always had a really good fair, but
Mm,
Marlow somehow I really liked.
right.
So I called it Being Dudes in Higgy.
Oh,
Through
say that again.
Being Dudes in Higgy. So Higgy is
Okay.
the colloquial local name for the park because we're too
Okay.
lazy to say Higginson Park, so we call it Higgy.
Right.
Um, and dude is what I thought I was 50 odd years ago.
Right. Right.
Through the park gates stride the cool brassy teens, platform heels skirted by bell-bottom jeans. The sun's still warm, tinting scalloped clouds pink. Stall holders beckon, beaming smile and wink. It's June, it's Marlow, it's time for a thrill. The fair's in Higgy, and we want our fill. Screaming colours and patterns on all sides, lights flashing in time with the whoosh of the rides. Try for enough prize, throwing balls or hoops. Nibble candy floss, watching others lose. The reek of diesel fumes and frying meat, carousel organ, heavy metal beat, and the shrieking. Could we push our fears too? The rides are the big draw. Look at the queues. Ghost train is feeble, the chaeroplane too. Twister, octopus, and waltzer will do. Four girls in a car, men spin it with might. Tummies lurch and churn, hands hold on so tight. With fake grit we laugh as away we reel, seeking calm on the elegant big wheel. Up there above the majestic plane trees, we gaze at the Thames and relish its breeze. The flint steepled church, the classical bridge, Marlow, our unrealized privilege. Massive speakers blast out all the young dudes. Glam rock dudes we were, in glittery hues. At dusk we debate, to cross keys or crown, pubs, clubs and discos, how we know towns. Our glam dukedom is now 50 years past, but at Higgy Fair we still have a blast.
Fabulous. When you're writing poetry, do you just go by the rhythm or do you count the syllables?
Oh,
When you
if
finish
I'm
the first draft, do you write the numbers down the side? Because it flows really nicely.
Thank you. Yeah, I do check syllables. If I'm writing formal poetry, and I'm not quite sure why I did with this one, but I think because um, I started to hear rhymes in my head, like teens and jeans,
Mm,
and what was the other one? Frying meat, metal beach. And so I thought, well, perhaps I should try and make it a traditional one.
mm,
Um, and so I always think as traditional English poetry, 10 syllables per line.
right.
So that is what this is roughly. I mean, sometimes I find myself putting a bit of a syllable in because even when you count the syllables, the rhythm of the words is not
Mm,
always
yeah.
perfect.
And it also depends on an accent and how you say it, because sometimes
Yes.
a word can be two syllables depending on your
Mm.
accent, or could be three,
Mm.
depending
The
on
other thing is that in tradition, it's a kind of 5/5 beat, and it's supposed to
right.
go di da di da di da di da di
Yeah,
da di da,
right.
um, and you can't always get that. Um,
No,
anyway,
no. And one thing I think, because I have written, we've had this conversation before, I have written poetry, and I will at some point. I have a plan, July, August, to go back through all my old stuff, um, and see what I've got, including poetry. And what was I going to say? Um, I don't know what I'm going to say now. I shall write down what I hear. Yeah, there's lots of onomatopoeic words.
mhm.
The screaming and the whoosh and the nibble, and the smell of diesel. Because when you go to the fair, I'm not one for rides, even the spinning teapots, which are supposed to be quite innocent because they're children's ones, so they don't go very, not that I go on them, but very um, but it's just the smell. It's a bit like going to. I've done the go karts, and that always, if you're sat behind somebody else,
Mm,
even if the driving doesn't make you feel a bit queasy, it's the yes, being stuck behind someone else that does. So it's very vivid. And the heavy, yes, the heavy. They always like to have quite um, either sort of dance music or something a bit heavy, so it really keeps you quite active.
mm,
And I love dodgems. I think dodgems were my favourite thing, and I'd be quite sneaky with
mm.
dodgems.
No, I'm not a fan of the dodgems. I don't know
I know.
why. It just seems pointless because if you avoid each other, you're just going round
Yeah,
in a circle.
yeah,
And if somebody blocks you or you go into somebody else, you're just stuck until somebody
yeah,
comes
and releases you.
round again. And you just
Yes.
go
Well,
back.
I have the one time I've been on. There's one that I think it's a drum, and you
Mm,
stand at the side of it, and it goes up like that, and you're supposed to be, I think, be horizontal or to be stuck, although you're standing, because it's turned.
mm,
The momentum keeps you in one position, and
yeah.
yeah, did not feel well after that. So no, I'm not one for fairs. Uh,
Mm.
but we did, didn't we, when we were younger?
Oh,
Because it
yes.
was
Yeah.
it was all sort of
In
almost
fact,
forbidden.
much to my surprise, a friend of mine who I did not expect to say this, we were at pub in the park and that has a fair. And I said, do you want to go on any of the rides? And she said, yes, the waltzer. And I thought,
Okay.
what? Oh, goodness me, yes. I
Yeah.
did think after that, yeah, no, I can't do this again.
Wow. Funny.
Anyway,
Yeah.
um,
So
we've
that
got
was
a few
being
minutes
Doots and
left.
Higgy. Like that. I like the title.
Thank you. We've got a few minutes left, so I wanted to try out something which is actually an exercise that I did as part of my indie novella, improving your writing course.
Okay.
Um, the thing is, it reads like it's an extract from a novel I haven't written, but at some point I will turn it into a bit of flash fiction, I think.
Okay.
What had she been thinking? This was obviously a trap. It might not even have been Otto's voice screaming at her to come. If she knew anything about the foot collector, he could manipulate technology. It wasn't men's feet that turned him on, so what would you want with Otto? As the something not quite right here vibe started to play in Amy's head, she did the right thing. She stopped and listened to them. Hurtling towards a possible location for the killer might not be the right thing to do, but was hurtling away from it any better? She pulled up by a farm gate and phoned Otto's boss. DCI Leg fumed at her. Otto was at his desk, tapping away furiously, trying to get the data they had on the killer to deliver some helpful correlations. The stream of invective shocked Amy, but she got the message. She repeated all the information she had got from the killer's call to her, hoping they could trace something. Then DCI Leg said that she must leave the call open and drive home, giving a commentary occasionally to confirm her progress. Amy manoeuvred carefully away from the gate, softly across the muddy verge, feeling the tyres starting to grip on the gravel at the edge of the road, and then welcoming the certainty of the tarmac. She started to accelerate. Just as her breathing became almost normal, a massive black vehicle shot across from a track and completely blocked the road. She slammed on the brakes. Her phone shot out of its holder and flew against the windscreen and into the back of the car. She had just stopped in time. She lay her head on the steering wheel, shook and cried. The driver door opened and she heard that voice. Really, Amy, I thought you loved Otto more than this.
Ooh.
Dum, dum,
Dum,
dum.
dum, dum. I love the names. Otto, DCI Leg. It reminds me of back in the day when I used to watch EastEnders. There was a Dr. Leg
Oh,
who,
yes, there was, wasn't there?
yes, who, what's her name? The chain smoker, Dot Cotton,
Uh-huh.
used to call him every 5 minutes because there was some ailment she'd got.
Couldn't do that these days.
No, exactly. Even if you can get through to them. Yeah, again, lots of vividness, the hurtling and the shot, and the I love the welcoming the certainty of the tarmac.
Mhm.
Do you? This is probably a very random question. Do you have a preference between writing description or dialogue, or you enjoy them both for different reasons?
I I do enjoy them both. I tend to, in longer pieces, um, start with the dialogue and then add the description.
Right.
Um, in shorter pieces, yeah, I feel that the description leads because in a short piece you have to be so sparing with the dialogue.
Mm,
Um, yes, so there we go. That was
yes, depends on that.
that's a bit work in progress. I should have saved it for next Wednesday, shouldn't
Right. Oh no, well, we can have it again.
I?
Um,
Oh, no, definitely got to have a bit of power and puppetry for work in
okay.
progress for the
Yeah, I
rest
think
of the day.
whatever's useful for anybody watching this, I'm starting from it's a week on Wednesday, the 8th of your is it the 8th you're doing?
Ninth, I think it is.
Yeah,
No, it
that
can't be
week.
the ninth.
That week. Um,
Yeah, you're right. It's the 8th.
yes. So we're starting I'm starting from the 8th because I want to build it up because I've got um the fifth all day festival on the 5th. So I'm concentrating on that for the next week. And then hopefully people will find the other events. I am getting sort of new inquiries almost every day, one or two every day or every other day.
Good.
So it's gradually building, but I need more time. And I've
Mhm.
bought some social media scheduling software, which I shall schedule so I don't get put in the sin bin, schedule it sparsely enough that I don't get in Facebook. So I don't know if Instagram has a sin bin, whether you can post too often on Instagram. Um, but I'm up to Facebook. Apparently, they'll ban you for a day, and then 3 days, and then 5 days, and then a week, and then I think it's a month, something like that. So I've been banned for the 1 day, 3 day, 5 day, and a week. So I don't really want to be banned for any more than that because Facebook's really useful because of the groups. But anyway, the
Mhm.
Wednesday is Wednesday Whips. So that will be a closed session with up to four of us, roughly 2,000. We'll see how it goes over an hour.
Mhm.
Closed sessions, which won't be recorded. and there'll be four of us. So they each session has a different link with a different password, so nobody can ambush us. And hopefully it'll be really useful. But yes, a work in progress that current work in progress is useful, I think, and just see how much we can fit in, and be firm but fair, kind but constructive with those. But yeah, it's nice hearing all these different pieces. You have a haiku as well. You
Oh,
mentioned,
oh, right, let me find the haiku. This is a relatively recent one, so it hasn't
okay,
been in any anthologies as yet.
okay, okay. Are you working? Are you? I know you're working on the follow up to Heroes and Traitors.
Yes,
But are you working? Have you got? Is your plan to do another coffee and commute-esque
yes,
collection? Oh, good. So
yeah,
you just keep doing collections when you feel you have enough.
yeah, yes.
Good.
When I've got the I, I mean, I suppose I'm already about halfway there with content for Coffee
Mhm.
and Commute too,
Great.
but still some way to go. And
Yes.
because I kind of diverted for a bit doing a textbook,
Right.
but I've still got Power and Puppetry on the go. Some of my pace on smaller pieces has
Mm.
fallen away, but it will pick up again. It's bound to.
And I think it's nice working on two different projects at once. If you have a break to do a competition story or something,
Mm,
because then when you go back to the other one, I think there are people who will literally only work on one thing at a time.
mm,
And then I think if they get stuck on it, if they're not working on something else, then it's still in their brain. Whereas
mm.
if you go off and do something else, I have about a dozen things on the go at the same time.
I don't think I could manage a dozen. Definitely not.
Well, I'm
Two
a
or three,
magpie.
just about.
Um, I'm a magpie, so I work on something, and then I get a new shiny idea, and then I start on that one. So it ends up being a dozen things that I then, okay, I'll go back to that at some point.
Okay, so I'll just offer one haiku before we finish. It's all already dated because it's about elderflower. Cream froth of summer, perfume of lovers to come, waited for, soon gone.
Oh, so you're not being green fingered. Elderflower grows early on in the year and then doesn't, I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
yeah, it's
Oh, I love elderflower. I love
doesn't last
elderflower.
very long. Probably about 2 weeks, end of May,
Really?
beginning of June. Yeah.
Wow.
And very quickly
Okay.
forms into little green berries, which of course eventually become black elderberries.
Right.
But
Okay.
it is marvelous to look at and to smell
Oh.
when it's there. Um,
No, I
and
love elderflower. I had a friend, lady who used to live next to my aunt and uncle, used to call it eider down.
oh,
She knew the word she wanted, um, but she said, I know it's not right. I know an eider down is a duvet, but
mhm.
it begins with an E. It's got a D in it somewhere, and so and then it became eider down.
Mm,
But yeah, I love the cordial. I think it's a green bottle, green. It's
yeah,
in a
yeah,
tube. That way. In a bottle. Yes. Can we have it again, please?
sure. Cream froth of summer, perfume of lovers to come, waited for, soon gone.
Oh, is that
So
a
the
froth?
waited for, soon gone could be the flower or it could be the lovers.
Yes. Again, pack so much in just a
Mm,
very short amount of space. So this is a fairly recent one. Do you think
yes,
it might go somewhere?
yes, it might in due
Yeah.
course, but at the moment it's just in my collection.
Yes, exactly. No, it's great. Thank you, Beth.
You're welcome. And thanks again for a jolly Saturday evening.
You're very welcome.
I
Have
shall
a
now
good.
go and watch cricket highlights
Are
and
you?
get myself ready for the football.
Oh, good. Yes. Well, Tim's. Yeah, I shall find out the score afterwards. He may stay up and watch it, but yes, I shall. I'll watch the later ones if we're still in further down the line.
Hmm.
Then I may see the later ones. But I'm quite happy just finding out how they've done so far. Right.
Hmm.
Thank you. I'll be in touch with the link and go on YouTube this evening.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're very welcome. Thank you. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.